Calvin Stiller was born and raised in Saskatchewan. His parents nurtured a strong moral compass and honest work ethic in young Calvin that sparked a creative set of unique entrepreneurial genes. When Cal was young, his father was dying of kidney disease, and the weekly house calls of their family physician inspired him to want to become a doctor himself one day and help as many people as he could. His ensuing self-directed business apprenticeship would arm him with the tools he'd need to make a lasting difference. He created many businesses in his youth, including a hamburger stand, a high school food concession, an ad agency, and partnering in a roller skating rink. It was then on to medical school, after which Dr. Calvin Stiller planted roots in London and began his medical professional journey to translate his business acumen and medical knowledge into research, discovery, and patient benefit.
His passion demonstrates a need, and he's able to transmit that to individuals. He's one of the most articulate individuals I've ever met.
His eloquence and persuasiveness and passion is something to behold. When he is seized with an idea, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Calvin Stiller opened the first multi-organ transplant program in Canada, and arguably the first in the world, in 1987.
That transplant unit and the example it set and the record it set, particularly in heart and in liver, established not only Canada, but specifically London in that field.
Cal's pioneering work with cyclosporin extended to really some of the very important work that was done with multi-organ transplant possibilities.
The success of transplantation really was transformed with the introduction of cyclosporin to manage rejection phenomena.
And we were fortunate when the drug cyclosporin was discovered in the late 1970s, and Calvin Stiller immediately recognized the value of that drug.
Dr. Stiller, while on his international cyclosporin journey, saw and experienced the infrastructure shortcomings in Canada when attempting to resource bench-to-bedside success. A number of new, significant Canadian institutions were about to emerge.
Behind each one of them you find Cal Stiller with his energy, his vitality, his brilliance in overcoming obstacles by looking behind what's there and seeing something that could be salvaged or brought forward.
The planning and the building of what was then the John P. Robarts Research Institute.
He had a huge amount to do with building up the venture capital industry as it applied to biotech.
He was a key individual who championed a major overhaul in funding of research in partnership with the federal government through the Ontario Research Development Challenge Fund and the Ontario Innovation Trust.
He's been one of the real pioneers who built the Ontario Institute for Cancer Research.
The development of the Canadian Medical Discoveries Fund, which was a very important initiative that ultimately led to the investments of hundreds of millions of dollars in startup companies in this country.
He was one of the catalysts for the Mars Discovery District and the Mars Convergence Center.
These were just a few of the many contributions that Dr. Stiller made in his lifetime.
Where there's a human need, where there's a scientific or institutional need, I hope where there's a family need, I have wanted to correct it, to make it better.
For Cal Stiller, making things better and searching for excellence hasn't been restricted to the medical arena. He and his wife Angie enjoy world recognition in breeding top equine athletes in the standardbred industry.
It reflects my interest, really, in translation. How can I be really audacious and try to put together things that result in something good, in something excellent? Well, breeding is that way, right? It's looking at a broodmare and what her genetic background is, and looking at a sire and what they can potentially bring to the table, and then doing an experiment. And of course, the other thing it does is give me time with my wife. It's hard for me to imagine anybody better to spend time with.
A passionate difference maker, a superior research translator, a pioneering builder of Canadian research capacity, an enabler for countless medical discoveries from those who will follow.
The person in the street, they may not know him. They may not even be able to relate easily to any list any of us could generate, but what they should be saying is, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Canadian Medical Hall of Fame laureate, Dr. Calvin Stiller.